Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Jud Dryden Show. And as always, today's a good day for a coach's show, Coach.
It is a good day. There's no doubt.
Anytime we get a big win over in a thrilling game against Coffee County, 32-28. Real quick, let's hear from our sponsor. It's Shelbyville Lumber, your true value hardware store at 917 North Main Street, 931-684-5731, right here in Shelbyville, locally owned and operated. They do lumber, lock service, building materials, lock service, pipe cutting, propane, and plumbing. And when you get the plumbing, Coach, what do?
I believe it should go right.
You hang a right, and then you're there at SLC FIREARMS, your sporting, outdoor, and hunting specialist right here in Shelbyville. The one thing I can say about the folks at Shelbyville Lumber and SLC FIREARMS is the knowledgeable staff. 931-684-5731. Stop in and see Chris Cartwright, Mike Matusik in the game. Coach, I'm fired up today. Big win.
I can't get over the spelling bee that's going on right now.
Well, in today's society, Coach, apparently we have to not say things, but I think we can spell them.
I will see. I reckon.
We'll try and see how it does, aren't we?
It was very well enunciated, Bill.
Well, I was worried I was going to mess it up on the second ad. I may mess it up yet.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, it's good stuff, isn't it? I'll tell you what, I think the boss over here is even laughing a little bit. You got to have a little fun here. Coach, ball game. You go down the field. We're at Coffee County. You're going to kick a field goal. You're up 3-0. Yeah. Coffee comes out throwing the football, which did we see that coming?
Not the way that they did it. I mean, they put us on our heels pretty quick with a change in the game plan. And even though we have some experience in certain spots, we have some inexperience in certain spots. So it kind of rocked us mentally a little bit. It kind of got us out of what we'd prepared for. It took a little while for us to get our feet back underneath us, but eventually we did, and we started making some stops that needed to be made. So
they come down, they get it 7-3, then they kick it off to us, and Mr. Bobo makes a return. It was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
Was it 87 or 93? I thought it was 93 yards. Watching on TV, I've seen 87.
Yeah, I believe it was 93 total. I think his total return yards were like 147 or something like that. So. But yeah, it was. He just did a great job. I mean, he's got great acceleration, and he's got good vision, and he's a ball player, and so it's a testimony to him and how hard he works and the way he wants to play.
Coach, you missed the PAT, but then you come back, make a stop. We go back down and kick a field goal.
We did
38-yarder, and then on the kickoff, doggone it, we're offside.
We are.
But Betzelberger, give him credit. He kicks it to the end zone's touchback.
Yep.
The next kick, touchdown call.
Yes, yeah, and it's the way the game is. And we made a couple of we made a mistake, then made an adjustment from the mistake, and then we give it up, and now we're in a ball game again. And it's one of the 28 different lead changes in the game. It felt like it was. So.
Well, then we get in. We're halftime. We're down 14-12. Coffee County comes out with a nice drive in the third quarter.
Yep.
They go down and score. We weren't able to move it like we wanted to, but then our defense came up with a huge stop, didn't it, Coach?
It did, and then of course the defense started to set their heels and not be on their heels anymore. They started to push, and we finally got things diagnosed throughout the half, and it just took another series to really get us in. And then of course we make a stop, and they go to punt. And they botch it, we get another special team score out of that. So, I mean, defensively in the second half, we look like a completely different team overall.
And Nate Zimmerman head up for getting that football.
Absolutely. I mean,
I thought on television it was a safety, actually, looking at it where I was watching. But he did a great job of getting in there and getting that football.
The looked like the punter was trying to kick it out the back of the end zone for the safety and missed. And then we were able to recover it at that point. So, yeah, it was a big play for us, and it really set things, got it back, got the momentum back in our direction. And then, we had
the PAT, so it's 21-18. But then you get another big stop, and here was a big drive in the ball game. Again, Bailey, how good is he? A 35-yard and they were keying on him all night.
Oh, yeah.
But he has a nice 35-yard touchdown call back for penalty. Doesn't matter. Stephen Bobo drops back and throws it. I believe it was Ransom on that long throw. His brother.
It was Ransom on that one, I believe.
Which set us up for a nice RPO by Stephen to get us up 25-21, and we make the PAT.
Yes. So it's we had to. They are so good up front. Yes. I mean, it's unreal. I don't know. Maybe Paige is as good as they are up front, but I don't even know about that for sure. Not the size and the just get after you that they have, that Coffee County has. So we had to come up with different ways than what we're used to manufacture points and at first downs and points. And boy, the offensive staff did a great job of figuring things out and getting after stuff. And then of course our guys making plays. I mean, that's where athletes are supposed to shine, and ours continue to fight and show some grit, and it turned out well for us.
Well, we get up, then Coffee County comes back down again. They score on us. It's up and it's just back and forth.
Yep.
It's crazy. And then Stephen makes a pass to his brother that I had at 64 yards as a touchdown.
That sounds about right. So,
and it was a play that earlier in the game, William told me we missed it. We came back to it later because it was there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing about Stephen is he's a sophomore playing, starting a quarterback in a 5A program and a tough schedule, and so you're going to see him make mistakes. But the great thing about Stephen Bobo, outside the athleticism, is he's such a competitor in that the mistakes are learned from, not dwelt upon, and he goes out and knows that he can make a play, and he believes in himself and his teammates, and that's huge. So his trust and confidence is big back there, and he's learning. He's going to be second half of the season. He's going to be a force.
And William had another big kick return to 54 yards and set some stuff up too. He's our offensive player of the game. Our Shelbyville Lumber Bedford County Sports Live offensive player of the game. We've got a clip from Mr. William Bobo. And on the Jud Dryden Show, we do something special every week. We select an offensive and a defensive and alignment of the week. And Bedford County Sports Live and Shelbyville Lumber are proud to present the offensive player of the game. It's my namesake, William Bobo.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you had a super game the other night. Who are your mom and dad? You reckon I know them?
I think you do. Todd Bobo and Cynthia Bobo.
And you've got a legendary grandfather, too. We'll get to him in a minute. I'm going to include him in this, too, as well. Who's your granddaddy?
John T.
Grandmom?
Janice Bobo.
Outstanding. All right, you're the offensive player of the game of the week because you had 4 catches, 135 yards, and a touchdown. You also had 2 kick returns for 145 and another touchdown, and that second one nearly went for a touchdown. So you had 145 yards returning, 93-yard touchdown score, and it was at a big time in the game. We were down, I think, 7-3. Tell me about the return.
I mean, we needed something. I just wanted to get us in good position to score, and I had some good blocks. I cut right off of Maddox, and then I really just had some good blocks, and I just kept running.
All right, you had another big one later on in the ball game, too. But I guess the play of the game to me and David both was into the ball game, your brother hooks up with you on a 64-yard touchdown. Tell me about that play. That was awesome. That goes from 28-25 down to 32-28, which is the final. Tell me about the play.
Well, actually, we ran that same play before half, and Steven had gotten sacked, but it was wide open. So I told Coach, and then I kind of knew that was coming. So it's a post corner, and I ran it, and I just wanted Steven to give me a chance, and he did. He threw it up and made a play.
All right, you're playing defense all the time, too. You got it. How much defense are you playing? I mean, you're pretty much starting at corner and at wide receiver. Percentage-wise, how much are you out there on defense? It seems like you're always out there.
I'd say for our team, we're primary defense because we can kind of sub in and out on offense. So I try and get as many safety reps as I can and then sub out with LeBron and Jay, who can also play receiver. So most of the time I'm out on defense and safety.
All right, now your grandfather used to tell me this was Iron Man football, special teams, offense, and defense. I bet John T's really proud of you.
I don't know. He probably is.
I bet he liked the shout out for the Iron Man football because that's what they did back in Moore County in the day. All right, one more thing. You got a chain out here. Tell us about the chain.
I think the chain represents us as a team, and because when one person messes up, it breaks, and especially in the secondary, you kind of get exposed. And when one person messes up in a coverage, it's shown.
What's it like playing with your brother at quarterback? Is that special to be able to play with your little brother?
Yes, sir, it is. I like playing with him because I feel like it's like it's like another me. I can trust him, and we have the chemistry to kind of connect on some things. Like he knows my route. I might change it a little bit to go this way. He might think the same way I do, and it's helpful.
When I ask him the same question, I'm going to ask you. Do you prefer offense, defense, or special teams returning, or do you just like to play football?
I just like to play football. I heard Steven's answer. He said,
I thought pretty good.
I think the exact same way. If I mess up in one, I can make it up in the other.
Something goes wrong here, you come back, you're right back out there, you can do something different. You had an outstanding game, big win, and the key for me was for you guys, that wasn't your best game, but you found a way to win the football game, and that was huge.
Yes, sir. We did. We never stopped fighting, and that's kind of our culture around here. And we had some games like that last year, but, I mean, we didn't play perfect, but it was a good win for us as a team.
All right, we're 2-1. We're heading into the game of the year. That's what I call it. This is the first game that really counts against Columbia. Big game on Friday night at home. We need to get the fans to come on out, don't we?
Yes, sir. Come on out.
Need a full stadium. It's Columbia and Shelbyville, and the winner of this game controls its own destiny. And we'll be right back on the Jud Dryden Show.
All right, Coach. Outstanding young man, William Bobo, and he has so many facets, and I think we forget how good he is on defense as well.
Man, he's just a ball player in every way. He's on our leadership council. He's heavily involved in student stuff at school. He plays baseball. He's got hundreds of community service hours. His grades are good. I mean, he epitomizes what we try to do. And he's not the only one in that class. I mean, I could go through the whole roster and name more than a dozen kids that are like him, but he epitomizes what we want and what we want to produce in our football program. And I mean, like I said, it's a testament to the parenting. It's a testament to how he's bought into what we do, and just him as a competitor and as a human being. You won't find anyone better.
No, you won't at all. I agree with you. Both boys are outstanding. But William, you might want to get with Neil Gordon, look into the broadcasting, because you're about like Chandler Cates. I think you might have a future in that down the road if you're not playing ball.
Very well could be.
He is very verbose, as they would say. Coach, let's talk defense a minute. We're going to get to the player of the game here in a second, but I wanted to also point out, man, Nate Zimmerman was everywhere the other night.
He was. Yeah,
we had him down with like 13 tackles, assisted tackles, whatever it was.
Yeah, he had total. I think he had 13 total. He was everywhere. Got a little banged up, got taken care of, went right back out. I mean, you have a kid that was as a sophomore. As a freshman, made it to the sectional wrestling, was just a few points away from making it state as a freshman. Last kid to have a chance at that was Logan McBee, and we all know how he turned out football and wrestling wise. So, he's a great one, and he just he's going to be really good.
And in the fourth quarter, something that I noticed, I know David noticed it as well, was we were having a little trouble with number 2 on the wheel route of the screen.
Yeah,
Mr. Bailey comes in and played a little defense for us right there, and that was gone.
It was, and it just is real quick. Hey, Robert, here's what's happening. We just keep your eyes, on, and just go be a football player, and that's what he did.
And
so
again,
it was
not to go back to Rocky's injury, but it's just a shame because we would have had both of them on defense.
Yeah.
And now the way it is, he can't play as much defense just because of the
we have
reps.
to be very, especially early on when it's still a little warm outside and all that. We've got to manage his snaps, total, and it was a brutal game at running back for him. I mean, it was every time we handed the ball off. I mean, he was getting smacked.
And they had 8 in the box.
And it was tough, and so everything about it is just simply finding a way to win, and you never heard him complain. He just went out there and did his job, and when he got a chance to play on some defense, he made the most of it. I mean, so again, a lot of these guys are a product of culture, and it has been an amazing thing to watch over the last few years.
I think the fans will get a kick out of this. We're going to move on with our defensive player and our lineman of the week. And I enjoyed this one, Mr. Ellington Scott. He had 6 tackles. We had him down 2 for loss and a sack and a half.
I know. I couldn't tell you stat-wise, but the thing about that kid is he is all smile all the
smile
time.
On his face. We did this interview. He was ecstatic.
I can imagine. And he is such a joy to be around, and he's one of those that has truly worked himself into the position he's in. He's given so much to be able to give himself a chance, and he has taken every opportunity.
Looking at him on the TV and watching him at the game, and then he tells me he's 5'8" and sitting next to me.
Yeah.
He looked bigger than that on the field.
Yeah. And he plays bigger.
And he plays bigger.
And he plays faster, and he plays. I mean, he's truly turning into a football player right before our eyes, and it's fun to watch.
Oh, it is fun to watch. Here is our Bedford County Sports Live Shelbyville Lumber defensive player and lineman of the week, Ellington Scott. Pretty good interview.
Show in the Bedford County Sports Live Shelbyville Lumber, and we are going to do the lineman and defensive player of the week. We've got a combo award this week, Mr. Ellington Scott, and tell me what you got around your neck And tell me about that hammer.
So this chain, it represents brotherhood, and it's like how we linked as a team. And this hammer means to be like the alpha and be like dominant on the field.
I had a big ball game the other night. We had you down with 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and we thought 1 sack, but then going back at it, I think you had a sack and a half maybe. Big ball game against some big kids over in Coffee County.
Yes, sir. They were big, but I'm faster.
That's one thing you had was a little bit of speed right there, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're 5'8", 185 and playing the D-line. What is the disadvantage? And also tell me where your advantage is, and I think I know where the advantage is.
So my disadvantage is like my height and weight, but my advantage is like my speed and my quickness, my first step.
Because you can get in the backfield pretty quick, can't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's just an honor to win both awards this week. I thought you had an outstanding game. Now, we've got a big game coming up against Columbia. Our region play starts Friday night. We need everybody to come out. But what are your thoughts on Columbia this week?
They're a good team, but, we're just better than them. Like we going to come out with the dub.
That's what we got to do. This is it right here, because the winner Friday night right up here controls their own destiny in the region, and that would be big. We need everybody to get out and support the Shelbyville Golden Eagles. Tell me one other thing. Who's your daddy?
Eugene Scott.
And your mama?
Michi Storms.
Well, they done good. David and I both talked about you all week. We thought you were absolutely outstanding, and that was a huge win over at Coffee County. And you made some plays in that ball game that we had to have at the time when momentum was getting away or whatever, and you were there.
Yes, sir.
Got a smile on your face. I hope we're going to bring it again Friday night, aren't we?
Yes, sir, we will.
All right, we'll be back on the Jud Dryden Show in just a minute.
Coach, talk about that kid, outstanding young man, once
he
again,
is.
to go with a group of outstanding young men you got.
It's crazy. Sometimes we'll sit in the office and select have to sit down and come up with all right, who are the candidates for this stuff. And sometimes you wonder if it's not just going to come down to who wins the rock, paper, scissors match. I mean, it's crazy sometimes.
But he did jump off the chart in this game, didn't he?
He did. Oh yeah. What he was able to do with, yes, he carries a disadvantage in height and weight, but he has not only a great first step and good speed, but boy, he's got a motor and he just doesn't stop. And he's also one of those guys that during the weekend, like today in practice, he's the first guy to jump on the defensive scout team against our offense and make our offense work. I mean, he's a varsity starter and willingly jumps on that and doesn't try to, take a break or have an excuse and gets out there and plays. And again, we have a lot of guys that do that for us, but he's just a great example of who we have in our program and the number of guys that we have. And as more guys buy into the way we do things and the expectations and the standards and the mindset that we bring, we only get better. And he's another good example of that.
All right, we're getting ready to move over to Columbia now, but let's talk about your sponsor for today's show, and it's Shelbyville Lumber, your true value hardware store, 917 North Main Street right here in Shelbyville. It's like the old handy dandy back in the day. You go in there, you're looking for this, you're looking for that. Shelbyville Lumber's got what you need. I don't care what it is. If it's a no trespassing passing sign, you ask the guys in there, and they'll come up with whatever you need. And that's what's really nice about Shelbyville Lumber. And then you get the plumbing, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do then?
You do-si-do around the right, I reckon.
You got to hang over to the right. Yep. Check out SLCFIREARMS. And check out your sporting, outdoor, and hunting specialist. And like I said, the employees are the best thing about Shelbyville Lumber. They're knowledgeable. It's not like a chain store. You walk in there and say, I need this nut. And they tell you, I don't know where it is. I guarantee you, whoever you ask here, they're going to tell you right where to go. Yeah. That's the difference in a locally owned and operated business. And we appreciate the Matusics at Shelbyville now. And I know Coach Dryden Show, we all appreciate
we do.
The Matusics. All right, it's Columbia time. It's a big ball game. The winner, in theory, controls his own destiny.
Yes.
This is huge. The season starts Friday night.
And again, it's they're maybe the most talented across the board athletic team we'll see in our region. Coach Goff has done a good job with them, and he, like I said, it's gonna be a war out there. And when you consider the weather, what it's starting to shape up to be, it's it's going to be a war.
Coach,
and
if
it's
we
going
got
to be
rain, do we do wet ball skills at some point with a water hose?
We work on all that already. I mean, that's something we'll do at least once every 2 weeks, if not once a week. So that's those kind of things. We talk about those things all the time.
We get a fire truck out there when we're snapping the ball, maybe have a big water hose going at them a little bit.
It's but no, we'll take care of it. That'll be something we'll work on tomorrow, and of course Thursday walkthrough will be probably rain as well. So we'll be out there. And
the difference in common opponent, everybody knows. Marshall County beat Columbia 25-22.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was that pick six, Columbia may well have won the game. They beat Dixon 22-2, beat Hunters Lane 24-0.
Yeah.
How do they mirror what we do in terms of offense and defense? What do we expect?
We're not quite the mirror that you might expect. They've got a couple of good running backs. They've got they've been running two different quarterbacks. So they'll throw the ball a little bit. Those things are fine. The schemes they run are a little bit different than ours. Defensively, they base out of a even front, 4-man front, like 4-2 or 4-4, depending on how you look at it. So whereas we base out of a 3-4, so similar but different. And so it's not it'll be one of those games that if we can line up correctly and execute assignment, we should be fine on defense. If we simply execute correctly, don't even have to be juggernauts up front or anything like that. We just got to execute correctly within the schemes on offense. We'll have our chance at the end of the game to win. And that's I don't care what anybody says. If you can give yourself a chance at the end of the game, regardless of what has happened up to that point, that's all you can ask for. And that's all you can hope for. And then you hope that your culture, you hope that your mindset, you hope that those things that you work on, the effort and attitude and the accountability and things like that, the leadership on the field, you hope that it takes over and it carries you across the finish line for the win. But at the end of the day, it's a game with a ball that is not round, and it bounces weird, and crazy things happen, and human error is always involved, and it just is what it is. So at the end of the game, you want your chance, and then you see what happens.
Last year, one of the best games of the year, 29-27, Shelbyville goes to Columbia and wins. Coach, did you realize you've won 7 straight road games? Did you know that?
I did not know that. No,
we talked about that on the show, Alex, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either until I heard it on the 104.5. Get a little pub there every now and then, which is always nice. But going into this one, we need the fans to come out Friday night, whether it rains or not. And I'm assuming we got our food trucks.
They'll have everything. Bring a poncho, bring a tent, bring a whatever you got to do. But we need a big crowd. We need a loud crowd.
On Thursday and Friday morning.
Yeah, hopefully it'll pass through and it'll be wet and sloppy out on the field no matter what. Shout out to Ben Adams and those guys and Jimbo Wilson and Chuck Edwards for the amount of work they put on that field for us and everything they do. And they'll have it ready. And then however bad we tear it up, they'll turn right back around. They'll get it in shape.
One other thing, and I know we're talking about thinking about possibly maybe getting turf down the road.
Potentially,
Potentially, if we could do it,
yes,
a rain situation would be huge, right?
It would be amazing. There is no problem at that point. Right. The drainage is taken care of. Is a little slick out there because of the synthetic. Sure, absolutely, but not like it will be Friday night. Not the mud, not the slippage and things like that. And so that it wouldn't impact practice either. The only way that anything's impacted is by lightning.
Right.
And most days you get rain instead of lightning, so it all fixes itself. So shout out to everything that Cooper Steel is willing to do for us,
absolutely.
and the things the school board is willing to do to come alongside in partnership with that. And we've been blessed with a lot of people that are putting time, energy, and effort into us. Absolutely,
yes. That way we're not wearing,
And it's not just football; it's soccer. It's both soccers. It's youth leagues. It's tournaments. It's all that. I mean, we could Shelbyville Central could turn into a beacon for football and soccer in this, not only this county but in Middle Tennessee if we did it right. Yeah. There's all kinds of things. So we're excited as a football program and as an athletic department. I mean, it's going to be incredible. You look at put the athletic director hat on real quick. I mean, The boys soccer program has been on an upward trajectory for a long time. The girls soccer program is now trending upwardly, and you can see that with what I believe will be 2 years in a row where Harris girls have competed for their conference title. And so that's big. And, and so there's a lot going on that's positive, and, and it's starting to bubble out because the positive things have been going on for a few years where nobody noticed.
Right.
And now they're starting to bubble out from the lip of the pot. And it's a big deal for us.
Sure.
And it's, academically we're climbing, and we have been climbing, and now we're starting to really see the fruits of that. I mean, as an example, and we're by no means the only program, but football alone, all of our guys that are recruitable right now, the worst GPA that we have is a 2.95. Everybody else, the next lowest is like a 3.3. And so we have one kid on our team that's already scored a 30 on his ACT, and he's just sophomore.
And he's a freshman.
Yeah. So, I mean, so things are, and it's incredible. And those are the rule rather than the exception now. And there's other programs inside the athletic department that are better than ours when it comes academically. So all those things matter, and they are starting to show up, and that message needs to be out there that there are great things happening, and life lessons being learned, and habits being developed for the future of Bedford County and Middle Tennessee. I mean, it's incredible to be a part of right now.
And something that's incredible is this Friday night, Columbia is right here at 7:00 at Shelbyville. Mm-hmm. Everybody get out and support the Golden Eagles and Coach Jud Dryden. And thank you again to Shovel Lumber and SLC, FIREARMS, for sponsoring our show today. Hey, we'll be right back here next Tuesday, as always. We'll also be back here on Saturday morning for Coach Jud Dryden. I'm Bill Anderson. Come watch us play. Big game.